Johnson, Mr. C.L. Johnson, please pick up the white courtesy phone in the lobby. Mr. Bozeman, please report
Let's
to
go
the cashier's
upstairs.
office. Mr. Bozeman.
Sam Farber. I saw your name on the table list. We met at that same meeting about a year ago. I'm Herb Lewison. We were sitting with Harry and Grace Pilcher.
Hello, Herb.
Hello.
How are things going?
Is that rhetorical?
Well, I hear you had some trouble over there.
Yeah, people don't talk to me in toilets.
Still getting resignations?
Yeah, some. Got your new brief today. I don't think it's going to hold up.
Who knows?
I think it's a cheap shot. Why can't we let the court rule on the central issue and stop putting up all these smoke screens?
I think your problem is you don't see the central issue. The reality of anti-Semitism.
Oh.
Oh, no. Did you ever read that book by that Northwestern professor who claims that Hitler's murder of 6 million Jews never happened? It was a hoax?
Yeah, I read it.
Well, it's all over. For one thing, there's this whole Palestinian thing. There's a worldwide explosion of anti-Semitic propaganda paid for by various Arab organizations. You don't see that stuff. I do. How the hell do you expect the survivors in Skokie like Feldman to appreciate your fine philosophical nuances on the First Amendment? My God, they suffered enough. Do they have to go through it all over again? What about their human rights? Why don't you defend that?
Look, I'm not going to argue with a guy like Feldman. I'm not going to try to give him logic and fancy law in the teeth of what he's been through. But with you, it's a different story. When Max Feldman sees Colin in his bloody uniform with his swastika, he sees his own past. He sees the real stormtrooper, the concentration camp guard, the Jew killer. It hits him. He reacts to it. I have no argument with him. But you should be able to look at Colin and see the present political and social reality. For a person dressed up in a Nazi uniform in America is a pathological irrelevance.
Oh, no, come on now. Now, don't underestimate the danger in this country.
I'm not underestimating. I think there's a danger in this country. But it sure as hell isn't a bunch of Americans masquerading as second-hand Germans. You want to know what the American equivalent of Nazism is? Racism. Sure, that's our big thing. You're seeing a hell of a lot more of that than swastikas. I'll tell you what's more dangerous than Colin. It's a bunch of smug, slippery politicians using code words, reversing the whole drive for civil rights, cashing in on racism. That's what's happening all over the country.
I know, that's why I'm here tonight. But I am primarily interested in the safety and security of Jews.
Yeah, me too. This Jew right here. Do you remember Huey Long's line? If fascism ever comes to America, it'll come under the name of Americanism. The only defense for Jews, for blacks, for anybody, is freedom with the protection of law.
Each of us knows the other has part of the truth, but we still can't agree.
Well, the court's going to rule tomorrow on the first case, the original injunction. Maybe that'll settle it.
Supreme Court, State of Illinois, January 27th, 1978. The display of the swastika, as offensive to the principles of a free nation, or the memories it recalls may be, is symbolic political speech intended to convey to the public the beliefs of those who display it. It does not, in our opinion, fall within the doctrine of fighting words. We do not doubt that the sight of this symbol is abhorrent to the Jewish citizens of Skokie, and that the survivors of the Nazi persecutions, tormented by the recollections, have strong feelings regarding its display. Yet, it is entirely clear that this factor does not justify enjoining the defendant's speech.
Well, it's a complete turnaround, isn't it? The march can't be prohibited. They can't be banned from wearing their uniforms and waving their swastikas around.
Well, that's one. Why don't I feel happy?
With any luck, it'll rain. Yeah.
Is Herb Lewison there?
Hello?
Mr. Lewison,
Speaking.
this is Al Woodruff. Remember me?
Yes, I remember you from Newsweek, right?
Do you know where I can find your client for comment?
No, I haven't the slightest idea where you can find Frank Collin for comment.
Can you put me on to somebody who does?
No, why don't you try finding him yourself?
Mr. Lewison, come on, give me a break.
Look, I had the honor of representing him in court. I have no intention of acting as his press agent.
Well, if you hear from him, give me a buzz.
Right.
As a matter of fact, I happen to know where Frank Collin is. Yeah, it's the one bright spot, with all the television stations and newspaper men looking for him to interview him. He's stuck in the blizzard, somewhere between St. Louis and Chicago.
Maybe when the federal court rules on the ordinances, he'll still be frozen stiff.
Federal Court for the Northern District of Illinois, February 1978. In this case, a small group of zealots, openly professing to be followers of Nazism, have succeeded in exacerbating the emotions of a large segment of the citizens of the village of Skokie, who are bitterly opposed to their views and revolted by the prospect of their public appearance.
Hell of a decision. They threw out every one of the ordinances as unconstitutional. Right down the line for the First Amendment. They even quoted Oliver Wendell Holmes. Look. The principle of free thought. Not free thought for those who agree with us, but freedom for the thought we hate. Freedom of thought carries with it freedom to speak and to publicly assemble to express one's thoughts. It goes on. It is better to allow those who preach racial hate to expend their venom in rhetoric rather than to be panicked into the dangerous course of allowing the government to decide what its citizens must say and hear.
Pretty sweeping.
Yeah.
What about that third one? The menticide thing.
They threw that out of the lower court. And even if they appeal it, there isn't much of a chance of their using it to get an injunction. This is it.
Then it's over.
No, it isn't. Now there's nothing to stop the Nazis from marching.
Our enemy has run out of Jew tricks to stop us. And I am announcing today that the National Socialist Party of America will carry the Nazi swastika flag in Skokie on April 20th, the birthday of Adolf Hitler.
Governor Thompson says he'll be here in Skokie to attend the counter-demonstration. Senator Percy has made a speech to the Senate calling for a massive counter-rally. Now, ladies and gentlemen, I'm not at all worried about how the people of Skokie will respond, because I remember one freezing cold day when hundreds of Skokie citizens, Christians and Jews alike, came to an outdoor meeting. And we were all wearing the armbands with the yellow stars to show how we stood together against the Nazis. So if they march, we'll be there. What does worry me is that even though I know our people are peaceful, I can't vouch for the peaceful intentions of others who may attend. Now, every effort is being made to keep the peace, and...
Al, will you excuse me a minute?
Excuse me, I'll be right back.
As the mayor said, we've been in touch with the state police. Of course, we're mobilizing the entire Skokie police department. Sure. With the peace. Our major concern is, of course, the safety of the citizens of Skokie.
What is it?
Skokie Police Department will make every
I just got a call from downtown.
maintain.
He's made a deal.
Who?
Colin. It's one of those package things. Chicago Park District. He gets a permit to demonstrate in Marquette Park, and he cancels Skokie.
That's straight?
I just got it from Chicago City Hall.
That's all? He had us running in circles for a year and a half. You mean that's it?
He's canceled.
And that's the way it ends? Just like that, it's over?
It's all over.
What a waste of time and energy. And what did anybody get out of it all?
I don't know. I guess it depends on who you are.
You know the truth? I never wanted to march in that Jew town anyway. But I was on television, in Chicago, and on the national networks for a whole year. Millions of people saw me and heard what I had to say. And I won. I beat the Jews. I could have marched if I wanted to. I just changed my strategy. We had our rally in Chicago today. Only 12 people showed up, but I have faith. People are getting fed up with the Jew government giving everything to the niggers. You show me somebody who feels that way, and I'll show you a potential Nazi.
You know, for all the aggravation, actually, in a way, it turned out to be a good thing. Of course, I don't mean that anything about the Nazis can be really good. But in terms of public awareness of the history of Nazism, there is a compensating gain. You know, a whole generation has grown up that wasn't even born at the time of Hitler. And this whole world conflict between Israel and the Arab nations has resulted in a resurgence of anti-Semitism. Now, we of the Anti-Defamation League feel that a time may come when we will see actual violence break out against Jews, blacks, other minorities. And not just vandalism, but bombings and murders. When this happens, we may wonder what price we've paid for the purity of freedom of speech. At least the Skokie experience can be a warning, a reminder that the Holocaust must never happen again.
I think there should have been some way to keep the Nazis out of Skokie. But I don't think I can feel about it the way my father does. And the others. I've tried. Sometimes I still feel guilty, like I have some kind of obligation to their suffering. But I can't. I do feel different, like I was in two different worlds. Sometimes I don't know who I am. Sometimes I get mad and say I don't even want to think about it. But I do. I'm glad I'm alive, but I just can't carry it all. I mean, why should I be the one who has to carry everything? Sometimes I feel like it's not fair to me. It's crazy, isn't it? I mean, I'm the lucky one when you think about it.
Well, I'm glad as hell it's over. The ACLU really took a beating. I mean, we didn't quite anticipate. But we've put in a lot of work now explaining to our membership why we did what we did, and we're coming back. Slowly. For me personally, it was very painful. The people who hate me the most today for what I did, who actually think of me as a devil of some kind, those are my people. They're just like my aunts and uncles. They're people I really care for and never stopped caring for throughout this whole thing. And they still keep asking me, why? Why did you defend a Nazi? Well, it's always the despised and the unpopular who are the first victims of oppression. Ask the Jews. I mean, if I waited around till all the nice, respectable people were my clients, it would be too damn late. No, no, no. The test of a democracy is not just that the majority rules, but that the power of the government is limited by freedom. And the first place you gotta go out and defend that freedom is the first place it's under attack.
It's over now. So we lost in the courts. Those bastards have got free speech. They can go everywhere and say that they should kill Jews. Well, let me tell you something. We lost, huh? Did they march? Not in Skokie. Not 1 inch. And do you know why not? Because this time we stood up and we fought them right back. And we told our story to the whole world. We were witnesses. We made them know how it happened, that such things do happen in the world. And the world lets it. I ask myself, why did I live? Why did God let me live? Well, you can't help it. You ask over and over. I will tell you a true story. I remember in the camps an old man was praying in Yiddish, not even Hebrew. And he said, God, let somebody live to be a witness. So that's why. To be a witness. To tell the truth, to stand up, to be able to fight back. My little girl said to me, oh, she was mad. She didn't know what she was saying. She said, I enjoyed it. But that's not true. Well, maybe. Because this time I stood on my feet and I showed them. I remember when my mother was going to her death, and they said, there's nothing you can do, nothing you can do. Well, this time there was. This time they couldn't wipe their feet on me. This time they couldn't spit on me.
Come on.
This time they couldn't kill me.